Have you ever bought a watermelon that looked beautiful on the outside, but when you brought it home and cut it open, it turned out bland and left your whole family disappointed? This happens to so many people because choosing a watermelon that is sweet, crisp, and juicy is not easy at all. On the market, there are countless types of watermelons, which often confuses buyers. Some have even spent tens of dollars only to bring home a watermelon that isn't worth the money. Such a waste and so frustrating. Today, I'm going to share with you some simple and easy to apply tips so that you can always pick fresh, sweet, and flavorful watermelons. Let's dive in right now. First, look at the color of the watermelon. Pay special attention to the stripes on the rind. If you look closely, you'll see dark stripes running along the body, looking like wavy lines. A good watermelon usually has clear stripes, deep in color, and evenly spaced. This is a sign that the watermelon has fully matured, the rind has properly developed, and the inside has accumulated enough water and sugar. That's why this type of watermelon often has a strong sweetness, natural aroma, and much crisper, juicier flesh. On the other hand, if the stripes on the rind look faint, broken, or unevenly distributed, it usually indicates the watermelon is not fully ripe. These watermelons are often less sweet, have less water, and taste bland. Therefore, by simply paying close attention to the stripes on the rind, you can easily distinguish a good watermelon and avoid buying one that hasn't reached the desired sweetness. Second, look at the yellow spot on the watermelon. This is the part of the watermelon that touches the ground as it grows. This part is clearly different from the rest of the rind. Because it is in contact with the ground, it doesn't receive enough sunlight. If this spot is yellow, it means the watermelon has been lying on the ground for a long time and has ripened naturally. During this time, the watermelon completes the process of accumulating sugar and water through photosynthesis, giving it a richer flavor. Therefore, the watermelon will be sweet, the flesh will be plump, and the texture crisp. If this spot is white or pale yellow and unclear, it means the watermelon is not ripe because it hasn't been in contact with the ground long enough. At that point, the sugar content hasn't fully developed, so the flavor will be bland or tasteless. Do not choose such watermelons. Third, when choosing a watermelon, with naturally ripened watermelons, the color will be a dark green, relatively deeper in shade. This shows that the rind has fully developed, is thinner, and the flesh inside has accumulated enough water and sugar. Such watermelons will always give us sweet, crisp, and refreshingly juicy slices. On the other hand, watermelons with a light green bright color are often not fully ripe, with thick rinds and flesh that is less sweet. Most of these watermelons are likely harvested too early, not fully ripened, with thick rinds, bland flesh, and less juice, making them less sweet. Where are you from? Leave me a comment and let me know. That's why we should always pay attention and choose watermelons with a darker green rind like this. Fourth is to look at the navel of the watermelon. When we buy watermelons, you will see that some have fairly large navels, and some are smaller. Which one will you choose? The one with the larger navel or the smaller one? Today I will tell you. When buying a watermelon, choose one with a smaller navel. Why is that? After the watermelon blossoms and bears fruit, the flower gradually withers and the navel gradually forms. Because during the ripening process, as the fruit's flesh develops, the navel also shrinks and becomes smaller. This shows that the fruit has fully developed, with a thinner rind and more water inside the flesh. Therefore, the smaller the navel, the riper the watermelon, and the thinner the rind. If the watermelon's navel is quite large, it is usually a sign that the fruit was picked before it was fully ripe. It has not fully developed, so it will taste less sweet. When you hold a watermelon in your hand, turn it over and look at the navel, and choose the one with the smaller navel. Fifth, look at the watermelon's stem. The stem is where nutrients are supplied to the entire fruit during growth, so it clearly reflects the ripeness and freshness of the watermelon. When the watermelon is growing, factors such as sunlight, fertilizer, and water affect ripeness and are all reflected in the stem. This is a simple and effective way to judge freshness just by observing the stem. After harvesting, the stem no longer transports water and nutrients, so it quickly dries out and turns yellow or brown. Only fresh watermelons keep their crispness, firmness, and sweetness inside. So avoid choosing fruits harvested too long ago because the inside may already be deteriorating and often tastes less sweet. It is best to choose a fruit with a greener stem. The fresher the watermelon, the better it tastes. At the same time, pay attention to the curvature of the stem. When watermelons ripen naturally in the field, the stem will curl and gradually dry. This indicates the fruit has fully ripened and usually tastes sweeter. On the other hand, a straight stem often indicates the watermelon was harvested early and most likely will not be sweet enough. If you find this type, you should not choose it. Finally, when buying a watermelon, lightly tap the rind with your hand. Tap it continuously 3-5 times so you can feel the sound and try it on a few watermelons for comparison. If you hear a deep and resonant sound, it's a sign the watermelon is ripe and full of water. When the watermelon is juicy and evenly ripe, the sound is more resonant because the flesh inside has reached its natural plumpness. On the other hand, if you hear a dull or high-pitched sound, it's a sign the fruit is not fully ripe or the inside is spongy, less sweet, and less juicy. This is a simple but very useful tip, helping you quickly check the ripeness of a watermelon right on the spot without having to cut it open. Now, let's check the watermelon selected according to the characteristics I just shared. This is a watermelon with a curled stem, still very fresh. Its rind is dark green with clear veins. Its navel is also small. The part that touched the ground is yellow. Cut off the stem. Place the watermelon upright and cut lengthwise. Where are you from? Leave a comment to let me know. Wow. Wow. Look at the juicy red flesh and the amazing aroma. It's really fragrant and delicious. The end part of a watermelon contains over 90% water, making it a great way to stay cool and hydrated in the summer, especially for older adults. Replenishing water through fruit is a great way to help the body stay balanced. After cutting the watermelon, if you don't eat it all at once, just cut it into smaller pieces, wrap it tightly with plastic wrap, and store it in the refrigerator. Try not to leave watermelon at room temperature for too long. Do you remember how to choose fresh, crisp, and sweet watermelon? How do you usually choose watermelon? Leave a comment so more people can learn. Thank you for your support. This video ends here. If you have any feedback, leave a comment below. If you find this video interesting, please give me a like. Don't forget to share it with your relatives and friends. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Goodbye. See you in the next video.